So we have a list of rooms that populates dynamically in the sidebar. We change rooms when we click on one. And we even sync the list of rooms with Firebase now. Since we said sync each room's messages separately was harder, what about adding a form to create new rooms? I don't know, maybe we should just get the hard work over with. Sync each room's messages separately. So what needs to happen? How are we syncing the messages at all? Which component's that happening in? Somebody who didn't actually do this part of the homework. Let's see if we can at least think through it together. So where are we syncing the messages? Which component's that happening in? No, that's not where it's actually being synced. But thank you for taking a stab at it. Chat, right? Chat is where we're actually calling base.syncState. And what determines where in Firebase it's being stored? This first argument, messages/general. Messages/general. So if we were in a different room, it should just be messages/something else, right? So that's what we need to change. Did anybody start down this road but get it doing really goofy things and give up? Did anybody do that? Okay. No shame in that. There's some goofy things might happen along the way as you try to make this work. So let's see what we can do here. So does chat know what room we're in? Let's see here. Here's chat. Yes, it does. We're passing room down as a prop to chat already. See that? So that's the current room. So what if, instead of just messages/general hard-coded in here, what if this were a template literal? And it said messages/. See where I'm going with this? Get it out of the props. So how do I do that? How do I get the room name out of the props from here? We established that it's being passed. How do I get the room out of the props? Ashley? This.props.room is the room. .name would be the room name. So what if we just put that there? Then what happens? Okay, I'm in general right now. Switch over to anime. My messages didn't change, did they? What if I had another one? Like Totoro and whatnot. Well, what gives? Why didn't it fix it? Anybody know why this didn't fix it? Yeah. Because component did mount only gets called once. That's right. Component did mount only gets called right after it renders for the first time. So the fact that we changed the prop doesn't mean base.syncState gets called again, right? So it's a good thing component did mount isn't the only lifecycle function in the world. We saw more of those yesterday. React.js.org, docs, main concepts, component, state and lifecycle. If we looked at the detailed component API reference, scroll down to the section about the lifecycle, we saw this little diagram yesterday. You remember this? So there's mounting, which happens right at the beginning, runs the constructor, then it renders, then it runs component did mount. Then there's updating. Updating calls render again and then calls component did update. And updating happens anytime you get new props. The props change. Set state is called or it's forced. So what happens when we change rooms? Which of these things happens when we change rooms? props change, right? As far as chat is concerned. As far as chat is concerned, when we change rooms, the props change because the room that we're in is a prop. So the props will change every time we change rooms. And that's when we want something to happen here. So maybe we can use component did update. Looks like that's clickable. Cool. Component did update is invoked immediately after updating occurs. This method is not called for the initial render. All right, let's start heading down this road. Component did update. Looks like it received some arguments. Previous props, previous state, and snapshot. So previous props, previous state, and snapshot. We need those things. Prev props, prev state, and snapshot. So we probably aren't going to use previous state and snapshot. Sometimes you'll see people do this. Put underscores in front of argument names just to, as a kind of a note to themselves, hey, these arguments are being passed in, but I'm not actually doing anything with them. So they still include them in the list, but they put underscores there just to indicate I'm not actually going to use these. I don't think I care what the previous state or the snapshot are because it's the props that I'm interested in, right? I'm interested in how the props changed. So I want to call sync state again. So is there anything we need to look out for? What should I do? What should I even start to do here? I want to call sync state again with the new name, right? With the new room name. So I basically want to do this again. I kind of want to do exactly that again. So what if we extract this into a separate method? Let's do that. How about sync messages? Let's make a new method called sync messages. And let's make it do this. So then in component did mount, I'll call this dot sync messages. And then in component did update, how about I call this dot sync messages again? This dot props dot room dot name should have changed. This happens after the update, so yeah. So you see what we're doing? Instead of just copying and pasting, I just made a new method and called it from both places. So in component mounts, we'll start syncing messages. Component did update, I'll sync messages with the new endpoint. See any potential problems here already? Or should we test this out? Let's see what happens. Oh, good, nothing. That's neat. What'd I do? Well, that's not what I was looking for. What if I comment that out? Oh, you hear my fan? Oh man, it's not happy. Aw, cuss. Bad stuff. Okay, whew. I got something back. Pause before potential out-of-memory crash. All right, cool. 16 gigs of glory. All right. Maybe commenting this out helped us. Maybe. We can just close this tab. Ah, infinite loops. I'm very sorry, browser. Forgive me. Okay, browser. I didn't mean it. What if I just do it in another tab? Okay, we're okay now. We're cool. We'll just let this fella figure out his thing. What should I change here? Well, maybe make sure that the room actually changed. I have previous props here, so I could like compare that to this .props. So what am I doing here? If previous props .room .name not equal to this .props .room .name, then sync messages again. Otherwise, we're just syncing with the same thing we're already syncing with. That makes sense? So that's the cool thing about component.update. You have what the props used to be or what the state used to be, and you can compare that to what it is right now. Have we gone over the triple equal, double equal thing yet? Okay, we did that the first week, right? Okay, if I hit save, is the world going to end? No, it seems okay with that right now. Okay, let's see what happens. Can I kill this yet? Wow, okay. Change rooms. Oh, good. So, Grave of the Fireflies, if you want to be depressed. Let's go look at Firebase. Hey, look. There it is. And back in general, we have our other message. What? Where are other messages? What happened? It's got the same conversation in both rooms. What? What happened? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I started syncing with the new room, but I didn't stop syncing with the old room now, did I? I only do that on component will unmount. Got to remove the old binding. You follow? So base.sync state starts syncing my state with something in Firebase, right? Base remove binding stops syncing with that thing. Well, I didn't stop syncing with the first room when I changed into the second room. So I was syncing with both, which it was perfectly happy to do. So when I sync messages, maybe I should first check to see if I already am. Stop syncing with the current endpoint. So if this .messages ref base.remove binding, this .messages ref, and then sync with the new endpoint. So before I sync with the new, stop syncing with the old, but first make sure that I'm actually syncing with something. Get it? Let's see if this works. Let's switch back to general. I'm in general now. Oops, wrong room. Let's switch back. Whew, oops, wrong room isn't there. But is this one okay now? Hey, Spirited Away. Am I right? Yeah, cool. Now we've got messages syncing for different rooms. Let's get rid of those off-topic things that's bothering me. Let's just get rid of everything that's in general. Start over from scratch. React. Let's sign in to somebody else. Oh, you mean the exciting UI library of JavaScript that all the kids are talking about? You are right. That's a thing. Yeah. Two totally different conversations going on, right? See what we did? If the room name changes, we start syncing with a different endpoint. We just make sure that we stop syncing with the old one first. Yeah.
How wrong would it be if I, in my main JS, put in the sync base and then I just re-rendered chat?
What now?
Instead of doing this,
Mm-hmm.
so I called like the base dot sync state. I did that in a function in main, and then I stopped rendering chat and then re-rendered it.
Stop rendering it and re-rendering it. How? Like you took it off the page and back?
Yeah.
Well, as long as it's being passed down to props to main, it'll re-render itself. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay. Well, it wasn't showing up the first time. So.
Did you at least store it in state in main? Well, if it's being passed down when your props change, render gets recalled automatically. So you may have had something else going on. But as a general rule, you should not have to force it to stop rendering and re-render just because state changed or props changed. So it would be fine if you had the list of messages up in main instead of chat. I mean, that would still work as long as you were passing the list of messages down as a prop. But if you're doing something to go out of your way to stop rendering and re-render, then something else is wrong. You've got some sort of design issue. Yeah. All right, so sync each room's messages separately. Go us.